What do you remember about the Bossado family?
Well,
Such as Oscar Bossado, the guy who had my building. Do you remember much about him?
well, no, I don't know much about him, but I knew him and talked to him.
We run across his bottles a lot. Passing down bottles.
Kind of skitterish fella. But
What was in the bottles? Did he was a pop
Where's
or
look at me?
yeah, pop. Yeah, he didn't have beer. He was soft drinks.
Right. Do you remember anything about the Schweitzer Hall building in my neighborhood? I mean, I know
No,
Schweitzer Hall was long gone, but Coke had it mainly when you remember it. But do you remember anything about that? Or
No, there wasn't. It was there a building up on top of Petzolazzi Hill? There was always rumored to be right up across the street from where we lived, on top of the hill. But it was long gone, and there weren't even foundation stones up there anymore. When I was a kid, we crawled all over that hill.
yeah.
There weren't any houses there.
Do you remember much about Birchler's store?
Birchler's store? Werner and Birchler? Or,
It was on the corner.
The magazine
The little
store.
magazine store, the
Who's
newspaper
that?
store. No, Main
Main
Street.
Street?
Oh,
Well, yeah.
No, not Sugar Bowl.
I mean, it was
Yeah,
called
Birchler's had that.
There was a grocery store
Well,
and
before
then
that,
he had the newsstand on the corner.
Mudward's had
You see, I was a country Jake, I don't know too much about it.
Yeah.
Nancy's dad had that as a grocery store.
Well, yeah, that store had been, in the 1913 flood pictures, you see a picture all the time, they sort of on around. The water is in the gutter, and there's a plank that across the street with a couple blocks on it. You can walk across the street on the plank. And my Uncle Henry was leaning on one of the posts. He was a tall, thin guy. And it was the Off Brothers store, the grocery store in those days, in 1913. And it became the Birchler store. Later on, it was, as long as I remember, it was the Birchler store, yeah. And Mrs. Birchler had a magazine shop next door, split in
Later
half.
on.
That's when they were talking about it.
Okay.
What did you do for entertainment back then?
Well, we mostly went outside and ran around, you know. Books were real popular, you know. We really didn't have any toys to speak of.
Did you have any dances or anything like that?
Bicycle, I did get a bicycle when I graduated from church and was confirmed, you know. But we'd have a stick and get a lathe, and you could pick up sticks at the factory, nail a cross piece on it, get a barrel hook, and down the street you'd go rolling that hook, run along. We'd go to Camden, Troy, you know, out through the country here. Just run around, you know. Go swimming, we swam a lot.
I got another question. I was told, you know, you had talked to a Civil War soldier at one time. What can you tell us about that?
Well,
What did you talk to him about, or?
Then I really talked to him. You know, he was an old guy. I was a kid, and I said hi, you know.
Well, you talked to him.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear any stories about, who was he? Do you remember his name, or?
Yeah, Mr. Engelbrecht. He was
Okay.
not Frida.
Yeah, there was
Clara Engelbrecht's dad. And he lived down there on the other side of Petzolazzi Street.
Did you work for Citizens Bank?
We lived at the corner, and they lived on the other corner.
Is your house still there on Petzolazzi?
Yeah.
Is that the white one?
Yeah, just like it was, yeah.
Is that the one that was for sale?
Yeah,
You just sold?
got it for sale sign on.
It's sold. I met the new neighbors. Yeah. So they
It was
would.
in the back porch, that's it. The difference.
Now the house across from that's kind of got the large picture windows. Is that the house where the
Yeah,
you
that's the
said,
Engelbrecht house.
hey, Engelbrecht? Is that what you're saying?
Engelbrecht.
Okay, so that was their house there. So okay, all right. Just kind of get a
Engelbrecht played in a parade with me one time.
really. I tell you, I got a question.
Little wagon.
What year?
Oh, she rode in a wagon with him. Talk to her.
Oh,
He was a Civil War veteran.
yeah. What do you know about him?
He He rode the wagon with me.
That's it? Okay. Well, Al,
You could have snipped a piece of clothing off, you know.
there you go. Sounds like Kathleen's pretty intelligent. Where and when did you meet her?
Oh,
We'll put him on the spot, Kathy.
a good part of my life, really. You know, we lived in the same neighborhood. But we didn't.
They got married someday.
No, I don't know when that
She
was.
worked here at the library.
About 1950, we got going together.
1950?
One thing led to another. You
Yeah.
know how that goes.
Sounds like it worked pretty good.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Lucky.
When did your store open?
The store was John Hooger had that. It was the Klondike Saloon. When the 1918 Prohibition law went into effect, of course, it closed it down. And my dad had been in that building that sat next to the freezer fridge in what is the parking lot now. It was a little shop there. He had a harness shop. He had been a harness maker. His dad had been a harness maker since 1886 about, 86, 7, 8, something in there. And they had been in various places. My dad was in the Spanish-American War, and then he was made another hitch in the service into the Philippines. And when he came back, he took over his dad's operation, which was, I think, where the news office is now. Then he moved down with a partner down by the freezer fresh, and they put shoes in the living room, got into harness making, was slipping by that time. They needed more, and he always felt obligated to Pop Werner. Pop Werner had bought harness from him, and he always bought Fords on that account. Dad, Gene, gave us a bill here from my grandfather, Bill the Obrecht factory for taking care of their harness. Of course, harness was the way you did your work those days. And he fixed these harness and put on straps, repaired this and that. 6, 8 times in the 6 months in the 90s, and the bill was $14. Gene gave me a copy. He gave John a copy. John gave me a copy. Well, that's about all I got.
Anybody else have any great questions?
I have one.
All right, Mary has got a question.
After the flood in January, how many months did it take to recover and get the businesses back in operation again?
Oh, it went pretty fast. You know, the factories were not doing anything, and all the people worked and did odd jobs, and they sent the clothing out to be washed, you know, and this woman took it, that woman took some, and it went back and came back, and within a week or so, they were going, maybe less, I don't know. It didn't take too long.
Didn't they have
But
to
it
wash the
just
bank
got
money
some-
too?
Huh?
The money from the banks too, didn't they have to wash that?
I imagine they did.
Yes, they did. I just read a
They
story on that
They
this
put up
weekend.
horses and put planks on them and 2x6s and put things on that. Like I say, people came from all over, and there was traffic, you know.
Can I tell a quick story?
Yeah.
Magnus Chrysley was the president of
Oh, yeah.
Tennessee National, and Sam Anderson was the president of Citizens.
Yeah.
So the water was coming up into the Tennessee National Bank, and so Magnus came down to Sam Anderson and said, "Can I put some money into your vault? Ours vault's got water in it." And Sam said, "Sure, just bring it down and we'll put it in." Well, it wasn't very long at all till it got into the vault at Citizens also. So in both cases, they had to take the money to their own homes. And they kept it there and put it in the bathtub and washed it after to clean it, and then ran it through a wringer, the thing on the washing machine to dry it, to help it dry it.
To get the water.
Does anybody else have any questions? Now is your chance. Don't miss out. That's funny.
Well, thank you for your attention.
Yes, thank you.